US is way behind on a lot of payment and financial services. And at the time, it was like if you said crypto where there was a bank room in the room, you would basically lose your bank account. But a lot of businesses are able to open an account. They are not able to keep it. A lot of people, I call them like Instagram superstars, bullshitters, wake up 5 a.m., go to the gym, have a cup of coffee, live the good dream. I don't believe in that bullshit.
What's more important, a good decision or a fast decision? Who is Ozan?
Well, I'm a Cypriot-born Turkish Cypriot. I grew up in Norway.
Dr. Ozan Ozerk, serial entrepreneur and visionary leader in the fintech industry with a passion for innovation, founder of several fintechs including OpenPayd, European Merchant Bank, EMBank, Bitpace, Ozan Super App, and Eurotrader.
Yeah, I'm a multinational that works in the fintech/banking space at the moment. I would consider myself an entrepreneur, a founder.
Serial.
Alex Rud, CEO and co-founder of Fintech, holding Xpaid and consulting company Fintech Capital, former director of the venture fund Space Tech Analytics, active investor in US tech startups, building a bank that makes financial services accessible to everyone.
Yeah, serial. Well, I love working. So if I see a challenge and I can do something about it, I like focusing on it.
So you were born in Cyprus?
Yeah.
And then you moved. When it happened?
When I was 2 years old.
2 years old.
Yeah.
So basically the entire life.
Yeah.
You were growing up there.
Yeah, in Norway.
Yeah. So the culture, everything impacted you.
Yeah. Norway is a fantastic country. Norway is like Disneyland. There are a lot of things with Norway which is really, really, really good. The welfare state, it has its shortcomings, but it's probably one of the best countries to grow up in the world. We have free education, which is very important, and the level of education is very high. You have a big trust in the society. I trust the Norwegian police. I trust the Norwegian government, the tax authorities. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have shortcomings, but when you grow up in Norway, you grow up with trust in authorities. Which is quite unusual when you look around the world today. Norway has its own challenges, and I can go on with all the challenges Norway have and how they should address it, but I don't think people in Norway realize how good Norway is.
Like, what would you prefer? Like, have a company working and you are not really operationally involved, or just exit, get a lot of money and do something else?
It's not possible to just do an exit, not do anything else, because I constantly work in my head.
But you will, like, if you have the opportunity and someone will offer you, will you sell your business and forget about everything and start, space rockets or farm?
I'm always involved in something all the time.
Besides fintech or fintech?
Yeah, other projects.
So you will not exit? It's like your kid?
No, it's not my kid. At some point I will exit, but right now I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Potentially, it's possible that you can.
Yeah, of course. Eventually it will.
Yeah.
Eventually it will.
Because some people, they are like business is like a kid, and they say, no, I'm gonna do this until
No.
I die or something.
No. I'm not gonna. Fintech has only a certain time period.
Yeah.
Then it evolves. The company grows. It evolves. So we cannot run it like a startup. We become more mature with time.
What did you study?
I studied medicine in Norway.
Medicine?
Yeah. So
right, I remember.
Yeah.
I was reading a bit.
Yeah. So I have a medical background. I worked as a medical doctor.
You worked, right? So you spent some time.
Yeah.
How many years did you?
Almost 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I worked at the emergency room.
Oh.
Yeah, I worked up north of Norway in a very nice city called Narvik. A fantastic city, beautiful people. Yeah, I can only say nice thing about Narvik and the people and the years I had in Narvik. But I also worked down south. I worked at 2 ERs close to Oslo. Also great experience, beautiful people.
And what happened? So you were working there for, it was 5th year. You were not a doctor, how do you call it?
No, a doctor.
A doctor, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened?
No, nothing happened. I've been working with startups and being an entrepreneur since very early age. And while I was studying medicine, myself and 2 friends, we built a social media company, which we sold the same year I finished medical school. Then I went into e-commerce and...
So you were doing this, sorry to interrupt,
Mhm.
as a student, right? So you started early, this social media.
Yeah. So while I was studying medicine, I was also working with some mobile solutions, what we today called social media. We built the largest social media website for the young audience in Norway back in 2005.
It's like Facebook or similar?
Yeah, very similar to Facebook, very similar to Classmates. There were a lot of social medias in the Nordic back then. So we were in tough competition with both local and international social media companies. So I did an exit there the same year I finished medical school. Then I stopped continuing as a medical practitioner. I actually went back and worked for the new owners of the social media company. Did a lot of experience there together with my two co-founders. And then I had to go back and work as a doctor, because in Norway you get your education for free, but if you want to keep your medical license, you have to work. I have to practice. So I went up north of Norway, worked there for almost 3 years. But while I was doing medical school and while I was working as a doctor, I was continuously working on e-commerce and social media. And
so you understood that you would prefer to do something with IT online.
I knew very early on that I would not work as a traditional doctor.
Okay.
I knew that before I started medical school.
You knew that before?
Yeah.
That was your decision to go there, or I don't know, your parents maybe impacted you somehow?
Well, like any other immigrant parents, they want you to have a higher education.
Yeah.
So that one was given. But studying medicine, I looked at different options. So I like working with people. I like helping people. And when you study medicine, you have biology, physics, and chemistry, like the traditional stuff, but you also have psychology. You have a lot of other components that is very interesting. So studying medicine for me was kind of an opportunity to work globally, not be limited to one specific path in life. So and I also had good grades from high school, and there's an expectation that if you're good at school that you become a lawyer or a doctor or engineer or something like that.
Right. It's everywhere actually. Same in eastern part of Europe.
Yeah. And I didn't want to work full-time with IT, because I felt IT was more like a sidekick or a hobby. And Norwegian law, in my narrow mindset, was that if you study Norwegian law, it will be only for a population of, back then, 4.5 million people. And finance didn't attract me that much. So I went with medical school.
Okay. When I was 21, also I was trying to start my first businesses. And the easiest way, I'm not sure like how it was in Norway, but in Ukraine, the easiest way was cafe, for example, some small restaurant, because it's everywhere. It seems not to be difficult. And I started cafes in Kyiv and then other cities. But after a year and a half, I realized that I don't want to be connected to offline businesses.
Yeah.
It was too hard. And then the investments, like usually if you have like offline point and you want another one, you have to invest again same amount of money. And if you have online business, you have a website, and then basically, you pay maybe $100 to Amazon services, and then you can have another 1 million users.
Yeah.
And that was my like personal change, like when I realized that I want to be connected to IT. But it was I think it was 2019. When did you sell this social?
We sold a social media company in 2008. Yeah.
Quite
I'm a different generation than you, so we started with building websites in 1997, 1998.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we started creating mobile content in the early 2000s, and then as technology grew, mobile adoption grew, internet adoption grew, services online grew. That's the benefit of growing up in Norway. The adoption rate is very high. Norway have always been the forefront in technology adoption. The government invested a lot in the infrastructure, whether it's fiber, internet, mobile connectivity, mobile adoption, mobile content. So when you are that exact generation that are living those innovations, you kind of follow the stream. So
Spotify also was
it's Swedish. Yeah, Spotify is Swedish. Yeah.
But it's like your attitude, like Sweden attitude, Norwich. It's similar to businesses, to people.
I think the Swedes are better.
Better?
There's always this rivalry between Norway and Sweden.
Oh, okay. You know that.
Yeah, but I think the mindset in Sweden when it comes to innovation and taking a risk is very different. My impression of the Swedish innovation or incubation is that they have a global outlook. Swedes think globally. Most Norwegians think locally. I am not sure if it's a cultural thing or if we have such a nice life in Norway that we are happy if our neighborhood uses our service, but Swedes are really good at creating global brands, think internationally. They also have the funding, the risk capital, the VC, the PE firms. They have global connections. Norway is very, very good at certain things like oil, gas, fish, some technology, weapons, green energy. We are probably the best in the world. But when it comes to more IT, risk, capital, PE, equity, I think we are probably very comfortable in Norway.
Yeah.
So we don't take risk. Yeah. And the Norwegians that usually take risk, they either take risk in the industry which is supported by the government, or they move out of Norway and they do it outside.
Yeah.
So there's not a lack of successful Norwegian entrepreneurs, but I think the mindset in Sweden, I have my admiration for the Swedes.
Do you have any limits, like when you reach, I don't know, 50 and you become 50, you want like more easy life or quiet life? No. You plan to do this
till I die
all the time? Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the like this. I was imagining, my future, and I was thinking that maybe I'll have some house not far from Como Lake, because I like
Lake Como.
Yeah. And then it's a good location because you have Italy here.
Yeah.
Then you have mountains, you can ski.
Yeah.
You have the lake, and also there are good infrastructure for private airports.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that I'm sitting in some big house there, and I'm old already, not moving that much already, but trying to. Dogs and horses are around.
Yeah.
And some people, they use the private jet to come to me and talk to me, and just 1 hour. We sit and have the dinner. We decide something, and then they fly away, and I'm enjoying my horses or something like that. But I was also always thinking that even when I'm 80, 90, I'm still involved in some decision making, not just chilling, writing books or something. Where would you stay for your retirement?
Retirement?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen in retirement?
After 80, for example, where would you spend more time?
I have no idea. How will the world look 30 years from now?
Turkey?
30? No. From 30 years from now, how will the world look?
You don't know.
I don't know.
Because I'm thinking about this, like around Como, it looks like good.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful area. I agree with you.
Even if something bad happens in Switzerland, you have.
Yeah, and the weather in Como is shit in the winter, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like really cold, wind, rain, snow.
That's why you have to go down to Italy, wait a little bit there, and then go up again.
Yeah, or you go up north where Switzerland actually have a functioning society in the winter. Because in Switzerland, they clean the roads, the hotels are working, the roads are working.
So after you sold the company, and then Fintech was something else.
Yeah, so I sold the social media company, had to start practicing as a doctor, starting doing e-commerce. And the minute I started doing e-commerce, payment became a point of friction.
I see.
Even in Norway, which is extremely well banked, it was hard to be banked properly. It was hard to find payment options. It was very high friction. And once you started looking outside Norway, it became even more difficult. So I was not planning to go into financial services or what do you do today call fintech. I just ended up there because I tried to solve something for myself, realized there are other people needing it, and then start selling it to friends and colleagues, and then it grew.
So basically, e-commerce was the reason why you started fintech.
Right? Yeah.
So when you realized that you're ready to make this switch,
It wasn't really a switch. Like I was doing one thing and then I saw a need for something else, started working on both, and at some point I realized that the challenge I was facing is bigger than just me, and I started focusing on it. Keep in mind that we are talking about now back in 2010, so it's like 15 years ago. So what you today refer to as fintech or financial technologies or whatever, it was just more like a friction with payments back then.
Yeah.
And then you start trying to solve a manual process with technology in the financial space, and then there's a whole industry growing out from that area.
So OpenPayd was founded during like those
No, so
that period.
OpenPayd was founded in 2018.
2018.
2018, yeah,
What
many
happened
years.
8 years.
Well, I between those years I just kept on failing. Yeah, between like 2010 and 2018, I just had various smaller startups in various spaces, whether it's e-commerce, payments, financial services, or whatever. And you keep on failing, but you also learn new things. You get more experience, you understand the market, technology grows, the regulation grows or matures. So at some point you realize that with your knowledge and the regulatory landscape, there's actually a way to start creating products that is actually of commercial value. So and that's why UK is a great space to be in. Because
Regulation, yeah.
UK was, if you go back 10 years, what FCA did back then, and also EU did back then, especially with the e-money regulation, opened up doors for more competition with the banks and allowing more inclusion, getting unbanked or underbanked businesses and individuals into the space. So if you look at the biggest fintechs we have in Europe today, they're all coming from that era, whether it's Revolut or Klarna or N26 or Monzo or Sterling Bank. You can all, I feel at least, you can all trace them back to that era. And also a lot of big crypto firms, if you look at Bitpanda or Bitstamp and big European exchanges, one way or another you can see that the regulatory landscape, access to technology, access to banking, access to human capital, create the perfect conditions.
So basically you were learning, let's say, right, this 8 years until 2018, and then OpenPayd was founded. How did you learn that you can, that the regulation is there already? How did you like got to know this instead?
I wouldn't say I was learning from 2010 to 2018. I'm still learning, okay? And I'm probably learning more now than I did back then. What I discovered very early on is that regulation is coming. So the first thing I focused on was to obtain licenses, because some firms back then were just focusing on technology, because there were no clear regulation, or if there was a clear regulation, there was no enforcement. So the environment was different. So I focused on getting licenses. So I started obtaining licenses in the UK, in the European Union, in the US. Yeah, trying to get as many licenses as possible across various financial services, whether it was a banking license, an e-money license, asset management license, or today we call some of the crypto license. That was the number one. And then obviously you need a good technology on top, because without the technology, your license isn't worth that much, and vice versa. But the most important thing was to build a team. So how do you find smart people that are willing to go the extra mile? So you can say that from 2010 to 2018 was very much about failing. And hopefully after 2018 onwards, I start failing less. But I still fail, because if you're going to create something, you have to be brave and take chances. And the likeliness of failing is quite high. It's almost absolute that you will fail. So when you don't fail, that's...
You're not doing anything, basically. You stay in the same place.
Yeah, but obviously in social media, you could kind of break things and adapt. In financial services, there is no room to break the rules or break things and adapt. Like you either
you can end up.
So you can have regulatory issues or criminal charges, but also like your clients will not adapt you if you're not compliant, because whatever you provide to them will also affect their business.
Yeah.
So
So 2018, that was your First license in UK, right? FC registered.
No. My first license in the UK was back in 2015, I think.
15.
Yeah.
Was a different name, yeah, not OpenPayd.
Yeah, so what I did, I had small companies doing different parts of financial services. So they had their own team, own license, or maybe they didn't need a license, and they were working separately, solving small issues. When we got closer to 2018, I said that there are synergies between all of these companies. So if I take them together, I can go to a client and I can give a whole range of services, rather than saying this company can give you this company can give you that, and by the way, here's another company can do something for you.
Yeah.
Trying to streamline the product, have a single point of contact, single sales channel, and try to upsell the client more services.
How did you position yourself at that time?
Well, the term embedded finance was growing. Banking as a service was a buzzword. So when we in 2018 kind of launched the various services under the OpenPayd brand, we were trying to make like a one-stop shop. So if you come to us, we will solve most of your payment challenges.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any business which has payment challenges,
Yeah.
they may come to you and
Yeah.
get like this boutique service with everything from A to Z.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah.
Obviously, with technology, you have more and more services, so it's very hard to cover all of them. But most businesses have certain challenges. One of them is being banked. It sounds strange for a lot of people. Say, what do you mean? Like there are so many banks, but a lot of industries and a lot of tech-first companies are struggled to get a proper bank account where they can send and receive money. And then the ability to receive payments and do payments or exchange, that's a challenge. So that's one part of it. And also, even if you have a relationship with a good high street bank, maybe their technical platform do not offer you the range of services in the platform. So they might have an exchange service, but you have to pick up the phone, or you have to email, or you have to reply to an SMS or something. That's not a very good strategy if you're a tech company and you want to grow.
Yeah.
So what we are trying to do at OpenPayd still is to basically take the best banking services, plug it into our platform, and provide it to businesses that needs financial services.
And that was kind of innovation at that time, right? Because like you have the option go to the bank.
Yeah.
And you use same platforms.
Yeah.
Same speed, same attitude, or you come here, there is something new.
Yeah.
They offer you same services, but more loyal.
Well, I believe that companies like OpenPayd on average provide a better banking service than most banks. Not all, but most. I think our onboarding process is more efficient. I believe our transaction monitoring and AML tools and compliance approach is better. And I also believe that the range of services we provide to our merchants is better than most banks.
Is it a good strategy to concentrate on everything what banks do bad and then try to make it better?
We don't only concentrate on what the bank does bad. We concentrate on financial services in general. And most banks cover a lot of the activities within the financial services. So we don't compete with banks on every vertical, but on the fundamental need of having a bank account, being able to send and receive money, exchange funds. That's where we compete with the bank. But we also cooperate with the banks. So the relationship with OpenPayd and its banking partners is a partnership. There are certain things that banks do much better than us, which we are really grateful that the banks are doing. And there are certain things that I believe we provide better to our clients, but we still work with the bank in the background.
How did you split it? Like safeguarding and customer acquisition, or how did you split these responsibilities?
Well, it's not about responsibilities, it's about function. So just an example. So we as an institution, an e-money institution, for instance, as OpenPayd, we cannot safeguard. So I'm 100% dependent that banks I work with in the background safeguard client funds.
Yeah.
So I'm not competing with the banks. But I do believe that my technology to bring in more clients on average is better than most banks. So I'm actually bringing clients to the banks in a more efficient and safer way, more cost-efficient way than most banks. I'm able to extract more revenue from our clients because I'm able to serve more clients with more product and services at the same time. So I'm also a sales channel for the banks.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point, because that's, you see, actually you describe the reality, right?
Mhm.
Because you have those relationships with banks. I used to have a PSP company in Poland,
Mhm.
and I was trying to get my first bank account when I got the license.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, and so I already had the account, but it was only for my expenses. And
Yeah.
then I need, the account where I can keep the customers' money. And when I was talking to them, they were refusing all the time.
Yeah.
And I was visiting bank after bank, trying to get this safeguard account. And then at the end, I remember this conversation with one of the C-level representatives of one of the banks in Poland. And I was sitting in this high building, maybe 36th floor. The office was empty. No one in the office, because they just have, they built this new building. And I was sitting there alone with this woman and talking to her and asking, like, why are you refusing to open the account if I'm a sales channel for you? And she was like, that's a good question, and you are right, actually, because at the end we keep your money and we help you. And I said, yeah, you can add some commission, some top up, some margin on that, and I will help you. And she said, that's a good point, but still we are too afraid because you're a competitor to us, something like this. And then at the end I'm asking her, like, are you using Revolut or Wise? She said, every day. And then asking, why not your bank?
I think the challenge for banks is when you look at the risk they are taking on from other financial institutions and the reward, they cannot always defend the risk, because a lot of banks don't understand fully what other financial institutions or fintech does. And there's also a real concern that a lot of fintechs are not doing their job properly. This goes for any industry. I'm just trying to explain why there is room to understand why banks refuse to work with fintechs. So they're going to make a little bit money, but they're going to take a lot of risk. That's their look at it. So they say, why take the risk? It's not worth it. But I don't believe that's a good strategy for any bank long term, because the technology is here to stay. Financial institutions, which are not banks, are here to stay, and they will actually grow. So just like your bank manager that were using fintechs while refusing to work with fintechs, tells me today, like, you see a lot of big fintechs that are larger than banks, have more clients than the bank, probably running their business more compliant than the banks, and still you find banks refusing to work with financial institutions that are not banks. So I think it's changing. I think, I think those banks that are good to adapt to cooperate with other fintechs, they will have the best earning calls going forward.
What decision gave you the biggest push, the biggest growth at the time?
I don't know if there was like a single decision. Obviously, bringing all the various product and services into one company, one brand, was a good decision. Focusing on building a good team rather than having a lot of random teams and having short-term relationship with employees and etc. Trying to build a culture, trying to bring smart people around the table. Founders or people with ambition can very often think that they are the smartest person in the room, and their ego can sometimes stand in their way. It's very challenging because you don't see it yourself when you're in the situation.
Can you recall this situation when, because I had this situation in my business when I was getting more revenue. I was able to get better people for C-level, first, and then they have created those good, performing mini teams already. And I remember this situation when I had these C-level meetings, and at some point I was feeling like, what should I do like here? Like they know much better everything. And I was prepared because I was reading some books about that it would happen, and you have to, it's like the goal, you have to get better people. So I was prepared. And actually one of the reasons why I'm expanding to Western markets now because I have free time. I can talk to people and they can do their job themselves.
Yeah.
But at some point I felt like should I maybe improve something in myself, or I should go to some sort of business school or something, because I was a little bit afraid that I can lose the control or something. Do you remember that moment in your company?
I don't think I had any specific moment where I kind of reflected on how great my team is or were, but I work with really good people, and they are far better than me in the role they are in, and their knowledge, their work ethics, their ability to deliver, it's much better than me in the specific part of the business they are doing. So the CEO of my companies, they are much better than me that with anything to do with being a CEO. My compliance team are very much better than me than compliance. My tech team is better than me in tech. What I probably bring to the table in such a good environment with high achievers is sometimes I challenge the narrative so I can hopefully motivate and push my fellow team members to look beyond the next challenge. Also, because I'm sometimes distant from the business and operation, and I actually work and know a lot of my competition, I can also probably see the market trends a little bit clearer. Because a lot of the people, when you're working inside an environment, whether you're a CEO or a programmer, you are in that bubble. Well, when you are outside the bubble, you sometimes can see things more clearly different. So,
but you also have to travel to talk to people because you also have to get something.
Yeah, I travel all the time.
Right?
I travel almost 300 days a year.
Yeah,
I travel all the time.
so it's your responsibility, basically, one of like job responsibilities, right? As the founder.
Yes, I mean, my companies are founder-driven still to a certain level, but most of my companies are at such a mature level that we have a strategy for each year, and we're working around that strategy, whether it's financial goals, technical goals, market share. So I think my role is still kind of being the challenger inside the company, but I also have to be reasonable. It's easy to come from the outside and say we should this and this and that, and yeah, but where's the money? Where's the human resources? Where's the time? And okay, if you're gonna pivot and do this, how about what we agreed on over here? So sometimes we have healthy discussions about what to do next. Yeah, but I think my biggest takeaway is that try to work with as smart people as possible and don't be afraid to be challenged, because I am wrong 49% of the time.
So what do you do? Like, how do you feel?
I feel good. It's only 49. It could have been higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you have to kind of adjust your ego.
Good point.
And also like try to see why you took certain decisions in the light of the fact you had at hand when you took the decision.
Yeah.
And it's also easy to criticize others, but very hard to reflect on your own role. So I think as more you fail, the more humble you get. And I think that humbleness somehow paves the path for success.
Do you get motivation from your team?
Oh, all the time. I have, in every company I'm involved in, really, really smart, high achievers that, yeah, I feel very lucky that they work with me.
Nice.
I don't want to compete with them. They are so good. So I'm glad they're on my side of the table.
You ski?
Yeah.
Or snowboard?
Both. But in Norway, everybody does everything.
Yeah.
You grow up with snow, you do everything. For 5-6 years, snowboard is in, and then suddenly ski is in, and then you have twin tip or you have short, whatever. It changes.
Good.
It's new trends every 5-6 years.
It's good to grow up actually in that area.
Yeah,
you speak a lot of languages.
Yeah.
You know how to ski and how to snowboard.
Yeah.
And good education.
Yeah.
That's what already is what I see, from
Norway.
from yours.
Yeah.
What was the most unusual request you received from any customer, during your existence?
Clients ask for a lot of things all the time. And some things are not possible because of regulation. Basically, what they're asking for could be either not legal or basically it's not possible for a lot of different reasons. But what I very often find that clients come and say, can you please do this for me? And they kind of give you a clear task on what they ask you to do. Because clients in their head have already solved their own challenge, and now they just want you to do one thing, and then their problem will be solved. What my team is really good at is to, instead of just accepting the narrative of the client and say, okay, I will do this, or reject the client and say, I cannot do that, try to understand, what are you trying to achieve? You just told me how you want me to do something for you, but that's your take on the problem. What are you trying to achieve? If you're trying to send money from UK to the US, and you're just saying, can you give me a US dollar account because I want to send money to the US? Okay, that's one way of solving it. But what if my bank cannot give you US dollar account? How if I just exchange and then pay out on behalf of you? So you see a lot of companies having adopted a clear view on what they need. But once you sit down with them, you look at the challenge, you understand that their challenge can be solved in various ways. And coming up with a new solution, which is probably cheaper, faster, more secure, I think that's the most rewarding part of being in the business I am in.
Do you remember any strange or odd requests also from your customers, like something made you,
I mean, I'm in payment business, and you get strange requests all the time.
Diamonds from Africa or something?
Yeah, I mean, the Nigerian scams, or checks, or Saddam Hussein's lost US dollars, or that's more on the funny side of the things. But no, I can't come up with any specific request from any client that I keep in mind. But what kind of surprised me all the time is how clients believe that they have a solution to their own problem based on the data set they have at hand. We, being in the industry and seeing a lot of other clients in the same industry, or seeing similarities between one vertical to another, we are very often able to see how to solve a challenge in a very different way. And we're trying to kind of educate our clients and say, if you do it my way, we will solve your problem, but in a different way.
Who are your customers like today, mostly?
Oh, if you talk about OpenPayd,
Yeah.
we have a lot of FIs, other financial institutions. It could be smaller banks, it could be larger banks, it could be payment companies, EMIs.
From all over?
All over the world.
Yeah.
All over the world. We have obviously crypto firms, whether they're liquidity providers, exchanges, payment companies for crypto, market makers, the whole ecosystem of crypto, blockchain, Web3. We have companies that are in the tourism, healthcare, education. Most businesses that have a strong digital footprint would one way or another benefit from the services OpenPayd provide. If you're a pub on the corner, I probably don't have that much product and service for you. But if you're an online marketplace or anything where your main interaction with your clients are online, then I think I have a lot of product and services to offer.
So basically, they talk, those customers, they go to banks, right? They talk to banks.
Yeah.
They get either like the banks refuse,
Yep.
to work, or they struggle.
Yep.
So, and then they come to you because you are more, like, you can listen to them, you can offer something better and faster. And I think what you mentioned, that you basically understand that businesses, they have some challenges, and that's what that prevents them from growing and increasing the revenue. And so you give a kind of infrastructure so that they can go according to their pace, right?
Yeah. So what we're trying to enable our clients is to get a full suite of financial services. So we start with the basics, like multi-currency bank accounts, able to send and receive money globally, exchange from one currency into another. And then you start building on top of that if they need support on their compliance side, transaction monitoring side, various payment options, local payment methods. So you start building from there. But you'll be surprised how many businesses that are struggling with the very basic.
Like just opening a bank account.
Yeah, not only open it, a lot of businesses are able to open an account. They are not able to keep it.
Why?
The bank says that they are not happy for any reason, that the risk-reward calculation between opening up a bank account for a PSP like you had in Poland versus the revenue they're making on you and the risk they're taking.
So they open the account, they see how you work, and then after some time they can close the account.
First, they don't want to open. Then after some time they open, and then after a very short time they usually close.
Yeah.
Or they put limitation on your activity so your business model doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the banks are right. I'm not saying that every account closure is unreasonable. I'm just saying that the knowledge of an average banker or the knowledge of an average compliance officer at a bank when it comes to financial services, crypto companies, and digital-first businesses is much lower than what we have internally because we specialize in that.
But usually also fintechs, they charge for, so they have some fees at the beginning. So if you want to open the account, usually in banks you don't pay, but you pay in fintechs. And then there are sometimes some monthly fees or minimum fees which you have to, to pay to fintech so that you can continue working. You have same, like you have some setup fees and monthly fees. Like,
listen, the banks also charge setup fees, a monthly minimum fees, or retainer fees, or compliance audit fees. So I don't believe that fintechs like OpenPayd, their fee structure is very different from the banks. Various banks have different fee structures. At the end of the day, they have to defend the effort you're putting in to provide you the service versus the revenue they are having, and we are no different. So at least my experience is that our fee structure is not very different from the banks. We make spread on the FX. We have probably an onboarding fee or a monthly minimum fee, a platform fee, all type of fees, because that's how we survive or make money and how we grow. But I don't believe that, at least for OpenPayd, speaking on behalf of OpenPayd, that our fee structure is any higher than the banks. Actually, on the contrary, I believe we are even cheaper than most banks. We have a better service at a cheaper level.
Yeah.
So you will be able to make more money with less cost.
Yeah, I can believe that because you mentioned that you processed around $130 billion last year.
Yeah, euros.
Euros.
Yeah.
So how is it possible, to get to this scale?
Well, first of all, you need to have a very good tech. Because regardless of the compliance part of things and your banking side of things, if your technology doesn't work, your clients will not scale with you. So either they will, when they reach a certain level of growth, they will say, I need to find a better provider. So holding on to the clients you already have is very important. Helping them by enabling them to grow is very important. So if I'm only transacting in one currency and I can offer them a second currency or a third currency, that will enable them to do more business in multi-currency, right? So that will impact my volume. If I have more functions in my platform, I will be able to offer them a wider range of services. Then again, that will give me more volume. Specializing in certain industries, whether it's other financial institutions, crypto, marketplaces, health, insurance, whatever, helps you bring knowledge from one firm to another. So if there are two payment firms and I have been working with you for, let's say, 3-4 years, helped you solve a lot of challenges that you are facing, and suddenly a new payment firm comes in, it's very likely that the new payment firm have a lot of the same challenges that we solved together 2, 3, 4 years ago, or that we are currently working on. So I can adapt that knowledge, take it, and present it to the next client. So I think the secret recipe for OpenPayd is that the team that interact with various verticals, they know that vertical probably better than the client because they're exposed to so many other companies in the same space. We have a really tough focus on having a good technical platform. And also, you need the frame around it, the licenses to be able to serve, the compliance regime, the transaction monitoring, the good relationship with the banks behind us, because if I keep on losing my banking partners, I will keep on telling you as my client that I can no longer provide this service or that service.
So IT.
Yeah.
Then I would say customer development, listen to your customers.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And then use the experience which you have with other customers to bring it to the table to another.
Yeah.
Good team, good banking relationships.
Yeah. Good relationship with all third parties. And also, it's very easy to be cocky. When you start working with, let's say, the biggest exchanges in the world, you might not take a small exchange serious. When you start working with the biggest FIs in the world, you might start saying, this small PI company or payment company, it's not worth my time. I strongly disagree with that view. First of all, I come from a background where all my companies were small at some point, so I hate the feeling of somebody looking down on me. And also the small players of today, they're very likely going to be the big players of tomorrow. And the challenges the small players very often have is much harder than the big players because they are maybe more innovative, they are more challenging to work with. So if you're able to solve some of their challenges, you might learn something that you can bring to the big players. But it goes both ways. Not to say that a big crypto exchange doesn't have global challenges. Of course they do. But yeah, I think as a company, staying humble is very important. It's so easy to fall into this thing that, oh, you're too small for me.
And ego again.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So I hate when I hear anyone of my colleagues, which doesn't happen that often, where I feel a sense of either we feel that we're entitled to better clients or that a client isn't good enough for us.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind refusing clients because we find them non-compliant or they don't fit our risk profile or we don't agree with their business model. That's completely fine. That's a decision we do based on our own guidelines and targets. But the notion of being too good for our clients, that I cannot stand.
I saw so many situations when ego was preventing someone from going further. Even in my company, sometimes some employees also like I had some agents working with me.
Yeah.
So as you said, it's like outside of my company, and they were doing good and great. And at some point, I remember one guy, he called me and said, "I don't want to work with you anymore." I said, "Like, why? What happened?" Like he was bringing the customers. He said, "You don't initiate any calls with me." And I said, I didn't know that I should, because you interact with my team, you have the results. Whenever I meet you somewhere, of course I would talk to you, but like, sorry, I don't have time because I don't follow, to everything what's happening there. And I said, why don't you initiate the call if you wanted to talk? And he was like telling some stories, and at the end he said, and also my ego. And I was sitting and thinking that we stopped working because he didn't, he said, I'll go to someone else, and he actually admitted, he said, yeah, my ego. And that's a good example, how it's happening everywhere. Like usually people, if they still like think that they're bigger for than someone else, it prevents them from growing.
I try to work with my competition. It's a challenge for yourself. Like if I consider company A, B, and C my main competitors, having the stomach to kind of approach them and say, I would like to work with you. And very often the response is, say, work with us? Like, are we not kind of competing? Yeah, we are competing, but I'm also competing with every other partner I have. But at the same time, they are my partners. So I think one of the things that we have been good at OpenPayd is that anyone that approaches us, even if we consider them a competitor, like we provide service to a lot of FIs. A lot of those FIs are going after exact same clients, providing the exact same service that we do. For me, it's nice to know that you are successful, and behind you, you have me. So being the fintechs or enabler of other fintechs, I take pride in that. But very often when you meet the founders of other competitors, the first maybe a few meetings is like, what are you trying to get out of me? Like, why are you being so friendly? Like, why are you asking this? Like,
suspicious.
Yeah, but I understand that. I understand that because I don't think it's normal that competitors approach each other the way, at least I hope OpenPayd is approaching its competition. Financial services or fintech is still in its very early days. So I think small companies like us should be able to work better. So I invite to work with my competition all the time. It's not a phrase. I can show you a lot of use cases where my toughest competition have also become my clients, and I have been a client of theirs. So yeah, I think that's also something we need to keep in mind.
But sometimes the competitor is a competitor. So how do you beat your competitors?
Well, if you want to stay ahead of your competition, you have to be better at most things that your competition is doing. So hopefully I have, on average, a better team, on average, a better technology, on average, a better pricing model, on average, a better approach to what my customer needs. on average, I have better marketing. So I don't think there is only one thing you can do better and then, oh, now you're ahead of the competition. And it's also a very dynamic market. The minute you think you're better, you have to be very, very careful, because it's so easy to feel like you are on top of the world. But I often speak with my team, and my attitude is like this. It's not the competition I know about that I'm afraid of. It's the competition I haven't heard about yet. So I believe, like, when you look back to mid-2000, I don't think people were looking at Apple and iPhone as a competition. There is a famous interview with the CEO of Nokia where he mocks Apple, and 3-4 years later, Nokia is on the bottom and Apple is on the top. And if you look at the major neobanks, whether it's in Latin America or in Europe, a lot of them were laughing at what the neobanks were doing 10 years ago. I don't think any of those CEOs or those banks are laughing a lot now. So I think that goes across our industry, that if you think you're really good at something, keep on competing with yourself, but also be aware that there is a competition that you are not able to see that is rising. So I always say that the competition I can see, I can deal with. It's the competition I don't see, the competitors, the trend in the market, the change in regulatory environment. If you look at, let's say, cryptocurrencies and blockchain today, 3 years ago, US was probably worst in class when it comes to the regulatory environment. Today, US is in a completely different space. I don't think a lot of people prepared for that. If you look at Europe, there are other challenges. So each market, you see the trend going in a good way or a bad way, but things are changing. So I don't think I'm anxiety driven. So I work based on anxiety. So I will never feel comfortable.
I see.
Mhm.
And how do you see the future of OpenPayd in 3-5 years?
Well, our goal is to become a global embedded financial service provider, a company that helps other companies unlock their payment financial services need. So 3 to 5 years from now, I will have a much larger global footprint, more licenses, more people, more volume, more banking partners, more competition, more value, and hopefully more stress.
And yeah, stress is a driver, definitely. And especially if you like to challenge your team, I guess.
Yeah.
There's the consequences.
I think the team challenges each other as well, and I think the team challenges me, and I think also team challenges our competition and our clients. So I wouldn't say I'm the challenger in the company, but I think my role is to kind of challenge the narrative.
What next markets? Because you said that you want to expand. What next?
Yeah, so we are kind of in every major market already, but US is a growing market. With the new regulation, I think there is plenty of opportunity in the US market. Without offending any of my US colleagues or payment companies, US is way behind on a lot of payment and financial services.
Even though the volumes there are much bigger.
Yeah. And there are a lot of reasons. I mean, US not only one country, kind of like it's 50 states with different regulation, different regulatory bodies. There's also a cultural thing about how people get paid and how they do payment, the freedom of having cash. There are a lot of cultural and regulatory reasons why US is more fragmented than we may think. But I think US is a huge opportunity. You have emerging markets or frontier markets like Africa and LATAM that are kind of jumping from cash straight into digital payments. Huge opportunities there, but also a lot of challenges, regulatory, adoption. The list of challenges in emerging markets or frontier markets is enormous, but also an opportunity.
Asia?
Yeah, I mean, we say Asia like it's like one little block of countries. Like Asia, you have anything from South Korea and Japan and China that is way ahead of anything else in the world. And then you have Asian countries that still are doing cash and have almost like zero digital transactions. Like, are you comparing Afghanistan to South Korea? Like, what is Asia? But yes, the demographics, the adoption of internet, mobile phone, digital adoption, the growth of digital payments, digital services, in any Asian country, there's a huge opportunity. But once again, the regulatory environment in Cambodia is different from the regulatory environment in Japan. The demographics in Indonesia is very different from the demographic and maybe, let's say, in Pakistan or other countries. So I think you have to look at every Asian country specifically and try to understand what is the real need, what are you actually trying to solve? Because the challenges in different markets are different.
So OpenPayd will go to that market where you have better regulations or easier.
We'll go to any market where we feel that the risk of being in the market can be defended by the reward of being in the market.
Yeah.
So
that's also an important topic, actually, the risks.
Yeah, because I mean, we can put in a lot of effort to penetrate Norway. I mean, low risk, but is there any reward there? Probably not.
Right.
Or you can turn around and say, there's a huge opportunity in Afghanistan. Let's say it's not sanctioned. Let's say, but the risk of being there is so high that there is almost no revenue or benefit of being there that can defend the risk.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of keep those two things in line. Also the potential, like if you are in Indonesia and you're growing in Indonesia, the learning from Indonesia can probably be transported into Thailand or Cambodia or Vietnam. Like what you do in Nigeria can probably be done in the French Africa and so on and so forth. So we usually are being driven by our clients. We might have a client in Nigeria that needs to be supported in Nigeria and beyond. So that's why we happen to be in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We might have a client in Malaysia that are trying to do business in the region, and we work with them to solve their challenges. And their challenges will be very similar to any other payment company in that region. So usually we don't choose to go into a market. We find a partner locally and we work with them, and then we adopt the same thing for other partners in the region.
But we can say that you're a customers-driven company.
100%. 100%. We have our own strategy about where we want to be. But if we have a client in any region which comes with a reasonable request, we will look at that request.
What about the risk? You risk more or less with time? Comparing to 2018, for example, and now.
I mean, a certain risk you cannot take. If you're taking a risk where you will be out of a license or where you will get sanctioned, that's not a risk which you can even discuss. It's not like a social media company where you take a risk and you have to pivot. If you take a risk in financial services and do it wrongly, you're out of business permanently, done. Like there's no return.
Yeah.
So if you put that type of risk aside, we are within reason very much into risk because we feel that we can manage risk. So financial service is all about managing risk. If you don't want any risk, don't do any business.
So can you say that you risk more now because you have
of course.
better teams?
Of course.
Right? So you are prepared
to
work on those risks?
Yeah. We have better team, better technology, clear regulation, so we can take more risk, but it's a controlled risk, and we can get more reward because we know what we're doing. Because we have reduced the risk. So the gap between the risk and the reward is bigger.
I expected actually to get another answer that you say we try to risk more, find more safe way.
No.
But that's good, interesting to hear.
No. I don't believe in, I mean, when I say I don't believe in safe ways, it doesn't mean that we are doing something unsafe. I say that the more knowledge you have, the more you understand the regulation, the better technology you have a better opportunity to risk manage.
Yeah.
I mean, you can manage risk, you can increase the risk tolerance because you feel you can manage it. So if you're weak, you carry low weight. If you're strong, you carry more. The stronger we get, the more we can carry.
So risk is not something bad. It depends on your ability to manage those.
Yeah, I mean, even the smallest risk is bad if you don't manage it.
Yeah.
A lot of firms, they crack down or they fail because of the small risk they don't manage, not the big things. So I think it's the risk-reward gap that we have to look at, and also how you risk manage. Yeah.
What about yourself? You personally risk more or less with time?
Exact the same answer.
Same.
Yeah.
So you would, for example, if you get some investments, someone will offer you to invest in a new project and it seems risky, you can do this if you feel that
risky for whom?
For yourself.
So for me, I will feel that project is less risky now than it was 10 years ago because I probably understand the risk more. I can manage the risk more. I have more knowledge to solve the challenges, and I can mitigate some of the risk.
So same situation.
Yeah. Most of the risk are the things that you don't know about. So if I know about the 5, 6 risk points of a project, those I can manage. What worries me are all the risks that I don't know about.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Why did you start Bitpace?
Well, back in 2016, we had a few clients that said, we want to take crypto payments. And I said, okay, what do you mean by you want to take crypto payments? Well, we want to buy Bitcoin, we want to buy other type of Web3 products, and there are very few companies serving that sector. And we also spoke with some huge exchanges that were used to only doing crypto-to-crypto payment, and they now realize that their audience that are only doing crypto is becoming a red ocean. There's too much competition in that space, and they said, we need to start offering our services to people that are not crypto native. So people should be able to wire us money or use credit card to buy our product and services. So they came to us. And at the time, it was like if you said crypto where there was a banker in the room, you would basically lose your bank account. So all the business I was doing already, I had to keep it separate from anything that was remotely crypto. So we set up a separate company, almost like a research and development, and start playing around in blockchain, trying to understand the challenges of blockchain. There's a lot of misconception about blockchain, that oh, it's cheaper, it's faster, it's safer, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there are elements of it, which is true, but there's tons of risks, especially if you go back 10 years ago, about transacting on the blockchain.
Yeah.
From anything from AML concern to technology to security. So we start like playing around in that environment, try to understand what is, if you take a big exchange and they want to take payments in fiat currency, what's the risk for us as a fiat service provider? What's the risk for us as a crypto service provider? How is the regulatory environment? Because something could be perfectly legal in the UK, it could be completely illegal in another country. So that's why I started Bitpace, basically to create a company that specialized in payments that are related to the blockchain.
Was it risky at that time to start this company, to invest money in this company?
Yeah, of course it was risky. It was unknown.
So
unknown.
you expected that you could fail with this?
I expected to fail with it.
Yeah.
I think if you start a business and don't expect to fail, I'm not saying that you should aim to fail or you shouldn't agree with yourself you're going to succeed. I never go into something saying that, oh, I expect to fail and that's kind of my insurance to fail. No. I go in and I'm determined to win and to succeed. But you also have to be honest with you and your team that you're entering the unknown and going in and say that you're going to succeed, period. That's a good attitude, but it's also not very realistic. So be honest with your team, agree on the risk, and then do it. So we agreed that there is a likeliness of either regulatory challenges or other challenges that would hinder us from progressing with the project. But I think we did a good job with it. I think we were able to follow the regulation, adapt our technology, win clients, bring in better team members, and kind of grow our market presence.
I was talking to your CEO like a few weeks ago, and actually you did a good job with transferring the values, because he was talking a lot about the technology, about their customer development attitude. So he was actually sharing some values.
Yeah.
So you did a good job. So can you say that is it paid back, the investments which you did into Bitpace?
First thing, I think the values that he mentioned is also his own values. I don't think he learned it from me. I think the reason we work so good together is that we share those values.
Yeah.
I don't want to come in and say that every success of any of my companies is because my values was transferred to them. I think the reason we succeeded is that their values and my values overlap on the foundation. And then we can disagree on how to reach the targets. I don't know how much money I put into Bitpace. I have never taken out any dividend from any of my companies that are in the fintech space. So
you never?
No.
Even OpenPayd?
No.
Because you're reinvesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoy the journey. My lifestyle is pretty humble. Yeah. So I'm sure that my investment in Bitpace is a good investment. But how do you calculate that? The number of hours I put in, how much money I put in, the risk I took, the anxiety, the sleepless night. Like, how do you calculate that? Yeah. But if you look at it pure financially, I'm sure it's a profitable business and absolutely investment grade. But yeah, when you're a founder, and I think most founders will understand this very well, that this is a very lonely life. You are alone. You're alone with your stress, your anxiety, your thoughts. It's very hard to trust people around you. It's very hard to share your worries. And your worries are very person-specific. My worries is my worries. You wouldn't be able to understand them even if I tried to explain them, because it's my worries inside my head. And because I see the world differently from where I sit as a founder, with the responsibility of the team, the reputation, my ego, everything comes with it. So, of course, there's a financial aspect also. You spend a lot of time and money, and you hopefully want to come out on top.
How do you deal with stress then?
First of all, I think it's good to admit that there is a stress. A lot of people, I call them like Instagram superstars, bullshitters. Like they have like wake up 5 a.m., go to the gym, have a cup of coffee, live the good dream. I don't believe in that bullshit. I think being a founder is all about failing your way to success. Like keep on failing until you succeed. And you don't do that by looking picture perfect on Instagram and living the dream life with an expensive car and private jets and none of that bullshit. I think the life of most founders is a life full of stress and problem solving constantly. So I think it's good to have good friends and family around you. I think it's good to admit that you're having these problems, like just saying that you have a problem helps you. And also be able to take a break away from the environment you're in, because I work every day, literally every day. So
probably for many years already.
Yeah, I think last time I had a proper vacation was back in 2005, and that was actually with my two co-founders from the social media company. We launched the social media company and then went on holidays for a week or two, and then came back and had 20,000 signed up, and we thought it was something error with the database. So yeah, so my point is that being able to reflect on your life and also be able to have time out with people that are not in your space. So when I have time off, I hang out with friends that are not from the industry. They don't understand what I'm doing.
Yep.
We don't talk about business. We talk about something completely different, and that kind of grounds me. Yeah, it's very easy to be sucked up in this world where everything is like on Instagram, but it's not.
It's like there is this, I'm not sure if it's a good phrase, is there any good phrase in English, but there is this resourceful state of yourself. And I think like entrepreneurs, they hunt the things which empower, like give the energy, and they try to get rid of everything which sucks the energy out.
Yeah.
So, and it's continuous, like it's the process. For example, I'm always searching for new things, and which give me, as you said, this energy, or I can just change the focus and then let it, do something else. So you mentioned family, friends, vacations, something else.
I try to stay away from negative people. Not because I don't necessarily agree with them always. I mean, I'm sure some people have good reason to be negative, but I am looking at the solution, not only the problem. For me, the glass is always half full, not half empty. So you kind of need to kind of put yourself in an environment where you are able to stay positive. It's very challenging because if you have ambitions, it means that you will have a lot of friction, a lot of resistance, because you're trying to grow as a human being, as a business owner, as a team member. So trying to kind of stay positive, stay calm, is very challenging.
But it gives you energy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Motivation, energy.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So if you go back, for example, for before you launch OpenPayd, what would you do different? Or you'll keep everything same?
It's so easy that I could say I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't do that. But if I didn't do this and that, would I have I've taken the learnings back then. What if I repeat those mistakes today? The consequences will be much bigger. So in a selfish way, I would like to say I wouldn't change anything. Of course, there are things that I should have done differently. I'm sure I have a lot of regrets like everyone else out there. But that doesn't mean that the things I did less perfect or wrong didn't give me any learning or there is no value to it. I'm sure if you reflect on your mistakes, there is some value in it. And hopefully I'm not repeating my mistakes because that will be stupid. So I wouldn't say I would do it differently, this and that. Sometimes you hold on to certain projects or certain people or certain thoughts or certain strategies too long, either because you're ego, you're afraid. Yeah, and you just keep on going with what you know, and then you realize that you're failing. But then again, there's learning in failing. I don't like this focus on success all the time. Let's have focus on the failing, because that's the path to success in my world.
Yeah. What's more important, a good decision or a fast decision?
Good or fast decision? Sometimes you don't have option to spend time on a decision. Okay? So a bad decision is better than no decision. So then you have to go with a fast decision.
Yeah.
But if you have time, spend some time before you take a decision, because you only know if a decision is good based on the outcome. And that's kind of cheating. Because once you know the outcome, you say, oh, it was a good decision. The question is, when you were in the position where you had to take the decision, you don't know the outcome. So you are taking a decision based on whatever knowledge you have. If you're under time pressure, you take the decision you believe in the most, and either you have a good outcome or a bad outcome. But that doesn't necessarily make the decision wrong. I have done a lot of decisions where I was wrong, but the outcome was good.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of decisions where I did the right decision, but the outcome was bad. So I think speed versus right is not necessarily the right comparison, because a right decision only becomes right when you know the outcome.
Yeah, good answer.
Yeah.
And last question. If we might have some young people, young entrepreneurs who are watching us, and how do you think, what's the best way today to earn $1,000, $10,000, and $100,000?
I think you can make money, a lot of money, in any industry. So don't believe in hypes, whether it's this technology or this vertical. I think if you want to make money and your goal is to make a lot of money, first of all, you have to stay in the fight. A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to grow and be successful. It is very painful. So you just need to understand that it's going to be a lot of pain. There is no free ride. There is no free lunch. You have to work for it. Stay in there. Adapt. It means that it's okay to change your mind, but it's not okay to give up. So a lot of people, they either are stubborn and they stay on the wrong path and they fail terribly, which is not a good way of failing. I think you should adapt. Admitting your wrongdoings, changing your mind is perfectly fine, but you cannot give up. You cannot give up. I think people need to understand that, because I see so many people suddenly get an idea, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and I saw on internet, and this vertical, if you just touch crypto, you're going to be a millionaire, or if you just do technology or internet, or I don't know, you open up something, a coffee shop, you're going to make a lot of money because your uncle made a lot of money. I don't believe in that. Every industry, in any business, you can make a lot of money if that's your driving force. Because you also have to realize that at a certain point, when you make a certain level of money, money is not your primary driver. I think when you don't have a lot of money, you're very often driven by money, because money gives freedom.
Yeah.
But at some point, Money will not satisfy you. There will be other things that will trigger you. I think it's good to reflect on that also, because a lot of people, they start really hard, they need to reach a plateau, then they have an expensive watch, an expensive car, they're the cool kid in the town. Okay, if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. But for me, that's not about success. That's more about entertaining your ego.
Yeah. Do you remember how you earned your first $1,000, $10,000, and 100?
Yeah, absolutely. I started working at the local gas station when I was 12 years old. I worked there every Sunday, 4 hours, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12. I had a really good boss. His name is Terje. He lives in Norway still.
It was like weekends or after school?
Sundays.
Sundays.
8 o'clock in the morning to 12. And then later on, I had longer hours. My first boss, perfect boss. Learned a lot from him.
First $1,000.
Yeah, that was my first $1,000. Probably my first $10,000 as well, because when I got older, I was working longer shifts. I worked weekends, New Year's Eve, Christmas, Easter.
How old was you?
Probably when I made my first $10,000, I was probably 17.
17.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot of money at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I worked hard.
And 100,000?
Oh, that was when my social media company.
When you sold it, yeah?
No, like where we were running it.
In the process.
Yeah.
It was from what? Advertisement or?
Yeah. So social media back then were making money on advertisement.
Yeah.
We were basically kind of mining our own database: age, sex, location, adapt advertisement, mobile, ringtones, logos, horoscope, voting, all the traditional mobile services that the generation you belong to maybe not remember, but that was a big thing back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember something still.
Yeah.
But we could say that it was already, you got your $100,000 from dividends from your business.
Yeah.
Good. So thank you very much for coming
Oh,
and
thank you for
sharing
the
your
invite.
story. It was
Thank you.
really insightful. I'm happy that you were one of the firsts, because you shared a lot of interesting information would be useful to not only people who watched, but also for me.
Thank you.
And wish you good luck.
Likewise.
Especially with expanding. And I'm sure with the attitude and values you have, you will succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.